Hi everyone, my name is Aiden and I'm a student here at San Diego State. Over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be going over some neat little tips, tricks, and tidbits you might not be aware of with Adobe Photoshop. And even if it isn't your area of expertise, these skills are super useful. Adobe is an industry-leading software. Everyone kind of knows it. If you say Photoshop, people know what you're talking about. And even if it isn't your area that you're looking to go into, I mean, it's certainly not for me. I'm a tech guy. I do a lot of IT, networking, business development, that kind of stuff. But I found these skills to be super useful. This past summer, I actually interned with a tech company, and they asked me to make a little page regarding something I had accomplished this summer. And I was able to make it look all presentable, nice, pretty, just from the skills that I had learned in Adobe Photoshop. Here's an example. I made this entirely in Photoshop, and although it's not professional level, it looks presentable. It looks nice, it looks clean, and I was complimented on it, and I was even invited back. And I think this would be a great use case for these short little tips and techniques. So once again, if you're looking for expert level advice, I would look elsewhere. But if you're a student just looking to get intro to this field, I would stick around. So to begin, if you weren't already aware, San Diego State offers this tool for free. The entire Adobe suite is easily accessible with your tuition. And to install it, just head over to the SDSU library page. You can get there just by going to library.sdsu.edu, or just click on the SDSU website and there's a link right there. Once you're on the library section though, you're going to want to go to Library Spaces, Library Computing Hub, and down here you'll see some icons. You're going to want to click on Software Install. And this just lists all the software available for students. Some of them is pretty obvious, like Microsoft Office, IBM SPSS, SAS, some other software packages, but you're going to scroll up to here. And if you click on the Adobe Creative Cloud page, there's even a nice little tutorial if you're having trouble installing it. Don't worry, it's really simple. All you got to do is click on this link here, and it'll take you to a page where you log in to your SDSU account, and you can link the Adobe software to that account. And even once you're done with school here, you can link it to somewhere else, and it's pretty simple to do. I'm not going to go through that process because it's already explained here, and I've already installed it. So once you're ready to come back, once you've installed it, hit pause in the video now and just come back whenever you have it ready. Hi everyone, welcome back. If you installed everything correctly and you open up Photoshop, it should look just like this. This is the opening window here, and if you have some slight differences, don't worry too much. This might be a bit different if you have a profile photo. If you ever worked with any other Adobe software, sometimes images will show up here. So if you have, like, for example, something made up on Adobe XD, and you edit an image a little bit in there, it'll show up just because everything's uploaded to the cloud if you have your settings set up like that. But for now, what I would recommend is going online and just downloading any old image, preferably something a little nicer, so not just something you find on, super compressed online. You can find a ton of open source websites for finding just stock photos. I know Pixabay does that a little bit, so you can check there. If it asks for resolution, don't worry too much about it. Most people can't really tell the difference between 1080p on a monitor, and if it's not being published anywhere, I wouldn't worry about it. But if you have a 4K one, I have a 4K monitor, so I always download 4K. You can do that too. If it asks you a little bit about the color mapping, don't worry about that either. There's two types, and even I think more, but most people just 8-bit versus 16-bit, and that isn't super important if you don't have a specialty monitor. Mine does, but even then it doesn't really matter. That's just more for HDR images, and the range is a lot bigger, so 16-bit offers a lot more color support. But for now, it doesn't really matter. And so what you're going to do here is hit this open icon, and that'll bring you up to the file browser. And just go down to your downloads, open it up there. I'm not sure what it looks like on Mac, but it should be a very similar process. And I'm going to open it up here just because I have already prepared. And so it's going to bring you into an image that looks, a window that looks just like this one. And this is more or less the center of Adobe Photoshop. It's where you're going to be doing most of your edits. There's a couple other windows, but you don't need to worry about them later, or worry about them right now. And so just take a second. I would recommend just scrolling through all of this. These are for big picture edits. So like cropping, huge changes. You want to edit in someone else. You want to take away something. That's all going to be done here. And a neat part about Adobe products is a lot of it's very well documented. So if you're hovering over any of these, I think all of them actually, it'll give you a brief tooltip and even a little video of how it works and what it does. So if you're just learning the software, I would take a second to go through all of these, do some edits on your own, and just play around with it. That's how I learned. It's super helpful. And the first thing that you should do when opening up any image you're going to edit is hitting File. And I know you can't see this, but it'll open up a window where you're going to want to scroll down to Open as a Smart Object. And all that does is open it in a special file format that Adobe can use to edit or make a lot more edits to your image. It's not strictly necessary for all edits, but for the most part, I would always recommend converting to a smart image. It makes it just a whole lot easier to use, and I can't think of a use case where you wouldn't want to do that. But for whatever reason, if it's not working for you, don't worry about it. And so, as you can see here, the image I've picked here is picked with a purpose. It's very overexposed. This is pretty common if you've taken something with a filter. Let's say you took a filter or took a picture with a filter on Instagram and you want the original image. Well, Instagram won't let you have it. Well, thankfully, Photoshop is here. So what you're going to do here is go down to here. And as you can take a look at this menu here. It's not super important. This is a lot more minute edits. So if you're doing like color channels and you want to edit that, you can do that here. This is a lot more specific. So don't worry too much if it all looks scary. I promise you it's not that complicated. But what you're going to do here, specifically for adjusting the contrast and the vibrancy, you're going to hit this icon, and that'll open up another menu. You can't see it probably, but it's there. And what I'm going to do is hit brightness and contrast. And a neat little thing that you can do if you convert it to a smart image is do this, and that just allows Adobe's AI to edit it for you. So if you're super confused and you just want a computer to do it for you, you can do that. So I'm going to hit that here. And it'll take a second, depending on how fast your computer is. And there. As you can see, it's a bit more clear. It's not quite perfect, but it's a pretty great start. And so now you have a pretty good chance to go in there, lower the brightness more, or more. No, not, don't add any more brightness. Probably not. But you can lower it more if you'd like. Another thing you can do is play around with the vibrancy tab here. And you can go here, adjust the saturations. As you can see, it's pretty saturated at the moment, so I can tone it down a little bit, make it a bit more natural. Vibrancy is a bit lower. And say I'm trying to do like a professional shoot, I can make this pop a bit more by increasing the saturation. So as you can see here, it's getting lower, but if I increase it a bit, it'll pop a lot more. And so, although it's not perfect, I could spend a bit more time playing with the settings to make it a lot more clear. It's a lot better than it was. And if that's all you're doing, this is a great place to start. And yeah, thank you for joining me today. And over the next couple of weeks, I should be uploading a lot more tutorials on how to get started on the Adobe software. Thanks, guys, and have a good one.